Welcome back to the Pick 199 podcast, episode 39. We're in lockdown, but I've got all the boys here with me. I've got Coxie.
Yep, the boys are here.
Snakeo Mitchell.
What's up?
And Muzzy down the bottom there.
Hey.
What's going on, lads? How are we? Surviving lockdown?
Oh, loving it.
Isn't it great? So much fun.
Great time.
So with these, we'll release a few short episodes each week until we get back to normal. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. We've had round 24 of the NRL just being completed. One more round to go. Boys, how are we all looking?
Yeah, I personally, Roosters fan, our season's playing out exactly how I thought it would, with all the injuries and you add everything in together. I'm looking like this season's been a success. But obviously you don't like to get beat, 54 points to 12, but it's been a good year.
Mm.
Yeah, I have to agree. Despite all those injuries, it would have to be a good year for what we've done.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, the Dragons finished higher up. Yeah, I was about to say Dragons finished up higher on the ladder than I thought they would, but not by much.
Yeah, well, everyone had them pegged for the spoon early, didn't they? So,
well, they weren't far off.
Yeah, but you were also 4 weeks ago. You're also in the 8. So
yeah,
like, it's just that bottleneck there between
I think I said
7th and 12th are really close. So
yeah, but I think I said a few weeks ago, like that'll figure itself out very quickly. Like we'll slip out of the 8, and we did. So.
Especially when you're going at barbecues and all that kind of business.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's start with the first game of round 24. We had the Knights 15 over the Titans 14. I mean, this is a great close game, but also a very scrappy game in terms of completion and skill.
It's disappointing for the Titans. They needed to win this to stay in touch with the 8. Newcastle were already guaranteed 8 spot, and they still come out and showed a lot of fight. So, Mitch Pearce getting the job done. Their big players are starting to develop a really good combination, and they could they'll probably play the Roosters. You'd think first week of finals, and the amount of injuries and stuff that the Chooks have had of late, you wouldn't put it past them to get a victory there. So, they're looking all right, Newcastle.
Yeah, I think they needed that kind of win, like against a team who's really fighting to get in the top 8. And for Newcastle, as you said, Jake, didn't really mean much to them if they won or lost. Really, they're already in the finals. I think they needed that to play a team that was going to come out firing, because that was them to get into the finals. Can they make the finals now? I think they need some teams to lose, though.
I think it's based on
but they
point
definitely
difference.
They need Cronulla to lose. They need to win. And I think they also need the Raiders to lose.
Yeah,
it makes it really tough.
I think the Raiders is the closer of those two.
Cronulla are the ones that have got it in their favour. If Cronulla win, they're in.
Based on their points difference, yeah.
But I think it was great for the Knights to win that one, and they can even relax this week, turn it off a bit if they want to, or they could just keep the momentum and take it right through the finals.
If I'm Adam O'Brien, I want to keep that momentum going as much as you can. Like for those teams, like they need to keep momentum as strong as possible. Like they're not like
how many have they won in a row now? No.
How
many have they won in a row?
6. No, this is number 6 because it was 5 in a row with.
That's pretty good.
5 in a row with Mitchell Pearce and Jake Clifford playing together.
Yeah. So that Clifford Pearce combination, you add in Tyson Frizzell, who's playing really good work there on the back edge, and then you put Ponga in there as well. That connection, that 4-prong attack, it needs as much time to gel as it can, because even Pearce and Ponga haven't played that much footy together, so they need to spend as much time together as they can.
Exactly.
And they've all had plenty of time off throughout the year because of injury, so they shouldn't need resting.
Exactly. Now, jumping on to Friday night's first game, we had the Raiders 28 over the Warriors 16. Unfortunately for the Warriors, they just couldn't pick up some of that good form that they had, but it's also a good sign for Raiders fans too, going into finals, if they make it.
Yeah.
So I think at the minute they're just sitting just outside of the top 8 based on points difference because Cronulla won this past week. So
I'll get the ladder up later if you want, and we can have a
So
detailed look at it.
Cronulla play Melbourne this week, and the Raiders play the Roosters. So you think whoever wins their game will make the finals. And it also depends on what Melbourne do in terms of their players that they put out.
Well, I'm fairly sure they're resting four or 5 players this week. So
yeah, and I think the Cronulla have got the ability to beat Melbourne with all the players that they're potentially going to have out. Saying that, last year Melbourne dropped all their players to play the Dragons, and they still won. So you don't know what's going to happen. But Canberra. They're a chance, and if they make the finals, they're a real opportunity to upset a few other teams. So I think of all those teams, Canberra are probably the best chance of upsetting some people along the way.
But they still have to make. I think the problem is
if they make it,
they've had so many points against them that it's going to make it tougher for it's going to make it tougher for them to make the finals.
Yeah, so, but I think they're probably the most talented team that's still in the hunt to make the 8.
Yeah,
I think that's what you're getting at, Snoko. Yeah.
Yeah, of all the teams that could, in that bottom bracket, they're the one that I would least like to play first week of finals.
Yeah.
No, very good. Well, let's move on to Friday night's second game and probably the most controversial game of the round. We had the Rabbitohs 54 over the Roosters 12. Now, there's obviously the biggest incident was Latrell Mitchell's hit on Joey Manu. And we've got 2 Roosters fans in the chat, but from a perspective of a neutral person in that watching that game, like how they missed that and how he wasn't sent off rather than sin binned, it just makes the bunker a joke. I think like out of everything that's happened, like if you compare it to Magic Round, when if you slap someone across the face, like accidentally, you got sent off. Compared to now, compared to that hit where it's forceful with the shoulder, that would have been sent off every other week.
100%.
Imagine if Victor Radley had done that.
Oh.
The guy might as well just go and play in the Super League because he's never playing in the NRL again.
Yeah.
The inconsistencies are ridiculous, and we have all known that they're changing. They've been more lenient on it. Like we can see that. But that's a send off 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Not
exactly.
even a send off like today. So the fact that
that's the whole point of having the bunker
instantly get sent off. If the bunker's not there for that, then what's he there for?
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
There's no need for it.
May as well not have him there.
He'll go back 3 plays for an incorrect play the ball.
Yeah.
But he misses that.
Yeah. That's
Please.
But that's what I mean. Like if they had kept the same sort of strictness on it like they did for Magic Round, I would much rather that have happened than them go lenient on it. If you're bringing in
we had what? So after the Magic Round, there was maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so they were really tough on it.
Yeah.
What about? But it's exactly about 2 weeks. Yeah. And then after that, it was literally just like it was never talked about. It was just swept under the rug.
And we all said that on the we all said that on the pod. That tends to happen in the NRL. They'll crack down.
Yeah.
3 weeks later, it's back to the way it was before. So
yeah. After the last game that they really strictly looked at it was when the Roosters played the Broncos. Victor got sent off twice in the same game. He got 6 weeks for 2 hits that were both in the chest. And what?
That's the last you really saw of it, wasn't it?
And that's it. So Trent Robinson's argument after the game and what his criticism was, he wasn't even aiming his anger at Latrell. He said that he needed to change his style and all that kind of stuff. But he said, how can we miss all the injuries to Roosters players this year, but we capture every high tackle the Roosters players made? If you're gonna have it, you're gonna get the odd one that you disagree with, but you're gonna get away with one as well.
Yeah.
At the minute, the Roosters are just being called for everything that they've done wrong, and they're not getting any leniency on the other end. So that's where the frustrations come from. Like, it's ridiculous. The knees from Dylan Brown, there was nothing done about that. The guy got put on report at halftime when we played Parramatta. There's been so many different stories like that. And, yeah, the Roosters were in this game, and 54-12, it doesn't make it look like that. Do you have your best player taken off the field like that? Then they walk down the field and score.
Yeah.
It's
I think the other thing is too, Latrell was able to come back, and he scored that try where he got angry, and like Manu's still on the sideline. So it's sort of like it's not really eye for an eye out of that. You're losing a player and you're also losing the game.
Yeah.
But
so it's come out today. Latrell's been receiving death threats. He's asked for sympathy for his parents because they're getting abusive letters on social media and all this kind of stuff. And he's asking for apologies, and he's asking for it to stop. And I totally agree. There should be no room for that. Like, he hasn't tried to end this bloke's life. Like, it's a game of football. He's come across, hit him how he shouldn't have. It is what it is, you know. Like, it's a game of it's a contact sport.
Yeah, and that stuff should always stay on. That stuff should always stay on the field.
Stay on the field.
It should always be dealt through that way. Otherwise, what's to stop? You know, a silly tackle from turning into someone getting in some deep trouble outside of the game.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
The one thing I will say, but is Latrell refuses to apologise for his high shot. So, and every other person that's seen it can all tell you that it was wrong. It was bad, and he should apologise for it because he got it wrong.
I think it's an interesting sort of like, did he go into that tackle intending to hurt, or is it like I think this is the thing. It's like he's going into it not intending to injure, but he's definitely going in there.
I think it was more reckless. Yeah. It was more towards the reckless. At the same time, he sort of made an impact that he really shouldn't have, and his intent behind it wasn't, I think, to injure him, but it was definitely to put some pain on.
100%. That's what it seems like too.
100%. And like as Coxie said, that's his game, and it's also Manu was having an awesome game. So it's no coincidence that it was him that was hit. I think. Is the bigger thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think the suspension, like, he took the early guilty plea for that hit, and thus he's out of the finals for the Rabbitohs. And I think that for them, that's huge. Like, in terms of their attacking ability and what he brings to that team as well. So
it puts an end to any chance that they had of running into the finals.
Well, you think like it's sort of
challenging. They lose that now.
Yeah, you think about it. It ends that run for Adam Reynolds. It sort of ends that run for Wayne Bennett as well as Latrell. So there's three sort of big names that hit sort of compromise, and as well as the Roosters as well. Like no offense, I don't think the Roosters can make a deep, like any sort of deep run now without Manu there.
They were always going to struggle anyway.
Yeah,
and like to win the first week of finals, I think is a real victory for the Chooks this year. So, and it still would be. But one thing it has cost Teddy, apparently coming out today, is that he was destined to receive the South Sydney captaincy next year with the departure of Adam Reynolds. That's now been taken off the table. So that no longer is going to be an option, and they will look in another direction.
Who do you reckon they give it to?
I'd say Cam Murray, but
I was about to say Cam Murray or even
but
Cody
it was
Walker.
looking like Walker's a wild child off the field. He had some.
What about Damien Cook?
But if that sort of,
I think they go younger, Coxie. I think they'll try and go younger.
Oh, you reckon not sort of experienced?
I reckon that Damien Cook would be a good shout. I think for them.
Yeah, it would be a good shout. I just think they'll try and go younger because they'll try and make it like.
Cam Murray's a definite candidate for the future.
Yeah.
But But I also wonder whether or not if they gave it to Cody Walker, whether or not that would really mean a bit off the field in terms of, and like keep him wild on the field, because that's where he plays his best footy.
Yeah, I think if you want him wild on the field, don't give him a captaincy.
Yeah, I think so too. Because it might limit his. I know it probably won't, but there's a chance that it limits his game, that freedom to play his game.
Yeah.
So
you don't want it to impact that.
If you gave it to Latrell, it'd bring him down a little bit. It wouldn't be the worst thing. But you want Cody to stay up. So
yeah. No, very good. Well, moving on to Saturday afternoon.
I hate talking about South.
Moving on to Saturday afternoon's first game, we had the Cowboys 38 over the Dragons 26. I feel as though this game just summed up the Dragons' year for us. We can be competitive.
You suck so bad.
Oh, mate. Competitive with the best teams in the comp, and then when it comes to teams like the Cowboys or teams below us, we shit the bed. So, and we were leading 20 points to 10 at halftime. That frustrates me more than anything. When you got a 10-point lead and then they score not unanswered, but like another 28 points to your 6, not a good look. But
how many times did he hit the post going for conversion?
I look
3. It was like 3 times.
2 or 3 times. Yeah,
it was the same post.
Yeah, but that wasn't the problem. But there's many problems at that club. But
there's 6 points. It gets you a bit closer.
Yeah, but I mean.
No, just blame the post. Just blame the post.
Blame the post. Don't blame the players that were letting in the points in the first place.
Yeah. It's fine, mate. Give him all big contracts. It's all right.
No, fuck that. Corey Norman should go. He's done. He gives me the shits like no tomorrow.
Tell us what you really think.
Oh, mate. There's a lot of problems there. But looking forward to next year. We got a few new good signings, so hopefully that brings us back into the game a bit. But anyway. Cowboys played well in that second half.
I'll tell you one play you aren't getting credit for signing. That's Jack Bird. He's been good this year.
He's been really good
this year.
Especially in the absence of Cameron McInnes too. So
if you had Cam McInnes, you win that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's a big difference.
Oh, he's a huge difference too. And
I think Jack Bird's copped a lot of flack over the last couple of years. And I think he's really this season in particular.
Well, this is the first season that he's had like a full season to have a run.
And he's actually but he's actually playing like instead of sitting on the bench.
That's what I mean. So, like he's not out injured or he's not like he's being utilised properly. Like that move to the second row has allowed his body to get back into shape the way it is at the minute, rather than being forced to cut a heap of weight and whatnot to play in the centre. So.
And have his body be asked to do jobs that's just not designed to make it at the minute.
Yeah.
He can't play 80 minutes James Tedesco like numbers at fullback. He just can't.
He can't. Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like he can't play those numbers at centre when his body's in that shape. But hopefully he gets a good proper off season as well.
He needs it.
Moving on to Saturday night's second game, we had the Sharks 24 over the Broncos 16, stopping any sort of momentum that the Broncos had. But it also means that Sharks are running into the finals in good stead as well. The way their halves are playing at the minute are probably like the last few weeks have probably been some of the best in the comp in terms of how their halves pairing, and even Will Kennedy as well has been playing out of his skin.
You watch the Sharks next year; they're going to be so ridiculously good. Because they're not losing a whole heap of players. They're losing.
But they're gaining a few though too.
But they're gaining so much. Like you gain Cam McInnes, you gain
Nico Hines.
You gain Finucane. Like they're key players that are just going to come in and just add so much stability. Like they could do anything because. The one thing you can't say about the Sharks is they don't have any. They've got heaps of fight. Yeah. They always put their pride first. Like they fight really hard. they're getting a really good coach next year, and they're getting a heap of good players to go with it. I'd love to be a Sharks fan right now because you've got good times ahead.
But like even running into the finals, I think cutting Chad Townsend from that roster and then putting Trindle in at 5/8, I think, and then Moylan's playing the 14 at the minute too. So, like I suppose they had Johnson back for a little bit, but you know, like it's sort of falling into place at the right time for them as well. So
they're starting to get a good look at what they got for next year.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Trindle at 7.
I do too.
I'd like Nico to go. I'd like Nico to go to 6. I'd like McInnes to play 13.
Well, you still got Brayley there, yeah.
And you leave Brayley at 9. Like you have that 9-13 combo that Melbourne do so well. Freaking going to be awesome. So yeah, and they've been doing it without their skipper as well. So they're going to be really good next year.
Yeah, no, looking very good. Saturday night's final game, we had the Eels 22 over the Storm 10. Now, I think everyone in our tipping column got this one wrong, apart from the Eels fans that like.
Except Emma Mitchell, she'd like to be congratulated for that because she got it right.
But let's be honest, she's an Eels fan too, so.
Yes, she is, and she really struggled to pick them this week.
Yeah, I think. Honestly, I think everyone did though too. No one was expecting this result. Eels 22-10. I didn't see that coming at all, and like it was closer to what the Eels have been playing at the start of the year too. That being the bullies up front, and
I definitely think with that run home that they were having, they definitely needed a win like that. Especially against such a big club like the Storm. I think that's going to do wonders for their confidence.
Yeah.
You know, going into the next few weeks. Who have they got next week, though? Who are they playing next week?
They've got Penrith this weekend, and they're going to rest. They're resting a lot of players.
Yeah.
So Junior Polo's out on suspension. They'll definitely rest Gutherson because he's got the injury to the leg. Look for him to rest Moses, who's coming back off the back injury still. They'll rest a lot and just take the loss.
I think the Storm are resting a fair few this week too. Like I know, and Addo Carr's out this week with that hamstring, which we found out today was just a strain, not a hamstring snap, which is good news for the Storm going into the finals. But I think
absolutely
with the Storm, they were sort of missing Big Nelson or Sofaloma. You know what his name is?
Big Nelson.
That'll do. But like just having him up front to sort of combat like that Junior Paulo, Nathan Brown combo.
Yeah.
And they did lose Addo Carr early.
And when they started Harry Grant and Smith at the same time. Like so they went the 13-9 option. And I think they really struggled because they're used to at that 20-minute mark, that gear change.
To give that switch,
And they didn't have that this week. So they struggled with that.
Do you wonder whether or not that was bellyache, just having a bit of a fiddle with his lineup, though, too, knowing that he will have all those players going into finals?
Yeah, 100%.
And like I said on the pod about 10 weeks ago, they're getting really close to having to make a decision about leaving one of those good players out. And who, because it got proven on the weekend in this game that they can't afford to run with 2 backs on the bench. It's like, especially when they play someone like Penrith, they're not going to be able to run 2 backs.
Oh, when they had Hines and Pappenhausen.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, but Parramatta do things too, Melbourne, but they always, because they play the ball without structure at the line, it really upsets Melbourne's defensive structures. And they've always struggled to defend against it. Parramatta have got a really good record against Melbourne. They were the last team to beat them as well. So they've only been beaten 3 times this year, and 2 of them were the Parramatta now. So
yeah, right.
There's a definite Parramatta have got something on them there. Like, there's something to that.
Yeah. And there's a possibility that they'll meet in the, is it first week or the second week of finals?
Second week.
Yeah. So that makes that a little bit more interesting too. So it obviously stopped. So the Eels winning obviously stopped that 20 or 19 win streak for the Storm, which was like an historic run. But I think Storms also sort of needed that loss in a way, just like the way they won easily, well, not easily the last couple of weeks. They struggled a bit, but this sort of loss gives Bellyache an opportunity to pull them back in line a bit.
Yeah, I think they're just getting a bit too complacent too. Like when you're winning for that long, like I don't know.
And that's what they said about Panthers last year, though, too, leading into that grand final.
Yeah.
So, very good. Well, moving on to Sunday afternoon's first game, we had the Seagulls 36 over the Bulldogs 18, or I should say for Muzzy, the Bulldogs won because they scored 18 points. Hey, Muzz.
Yeah, they did.
12-0 up. I was like, what is going on this week in terms of upsets for the round? But the second half proved to be too much for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
No,
let's
talk anymore.
Yeah, no. The Bulldogs announced, I think it was last night or this morning, 12 players that are leaving the team that have been confirmed.
Yeah,
they're going. So
clearing house.
Basically, clearing house as soon as Phil Gould's planning to step in. So
I've got the players here that they've released. So they've released.
Yeah, I've got me too if you want. Yeah.
Dylan Nupper, which was when he was first signed to the Bulldogs, he was on big money there. I think he was upwards of over 600K a year for what he was getting. Lockie Lewis, obviously after that debacle with this trying to sell a speaker on eBay.
That's now the second dumbest thing I've ever heard an NRL player getting sacked for.
Renato Fatoni, Sione Katoa, Dean Britt, Chris Smith, James Romanos, Brad Dietz, Watson Haleta, and Kiku Manu have all been pushed out.
And did you say Will Hopewade as well?
I was about to say Will Hopewade is over to the Super League next year. Yep. He's on with St. Helens. And Nick Meaney is obviously joining the Storm next year as well. So I think of those players that you would have liked to have kept, I think Nick Meaney is probably the only one.
I'd say that.
Hopper's been good. He's been good, but he's just not going to do the job for you. And you've got so many outside backs.
Moving forward, I don't see his place sort of sewed up anywhere in the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as a move forward, but
like he's still got enough footy left change. That you don't want him just to be
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But that also like loosens up the salary cap at the minute for them too. Like, I mean, they pretty much tied it all back up again with the signings that they've got for next year. But to get rid of a bit of dead wood, I think is a good thing for them.
I will give you some credit, Muzz, on the weekend, but the Bulldogs boys, they did a really good job on Turbo in that first half. They kicked early in the tackle count. They trusted their ability to hold on to the ball. They completed 16 from 16 and just kept him in the corner, and it worked. It really did. Yeah. The only thing is Turbo's got 18 gears, and he just comes out and does something different.
I think you sort of almost have to play a different game plan to him in the first half than you do in the second half. You almost have to, because like second half fatigue is going to kick in, and he just especially in the last couple of weeks, he just does not seem to be able to get tired. And I think it's easy to pressure him early while everyone's rested. But I think as teams progress, they have to start to realise that pressure, you can't keep it up for the full 80 minutes. And he'll break your line easier in that second half because that pressure's not there. So it's almost an adjustment that you have to change at half time in order to keep up with him.
Yeah, big time.
You've got to have more than one plan for him, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. He's smart enough as a footballer to know when to figure stuff out.
Yeah,
like he's like the Floyd Mayweather of football. Like he can figure defenses out really quickly.
But he's a good bloke, so
yeah.
I was waiting for that.
I was
I'm sorry.
I thought he was going to say he's just on a little bit less money.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna.
Just a few billion, a few hundred million out of the way.
I didn't feel confident making that statement, so I didn't.
Well, let's move on to Sunday afternoon's final game. We had the Panthers 30 over the West Tigers 16. And realistically, a couple of late tries let the West Tigers make that score look a bit more respectable. But it's the same old story for them. Just lots of things going wrong. Yeah. Well, yeah.
Panthers look set for the finals though. So
and
that's about it from that game.
The return of Brian Toto was big for them too. I think, like in terms of meters run, like I think he was close to 200 again over the weekend. So
yeah, he was up there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He had a high meters after hit too on the weekend as well.
His post contact stats are through the roof.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of times where the middle forwards for the Tigers were getting tired, and I mean, Tyler just ripped through them, and like it wasn't even close. But Panthers getting that good run into finals, I think, is good for them as well in terms of where they want to end up. I'm not sure how many players they're resting this weekend, if they are, but I don't think it's as many as the Storm or Rabbitohs are, or even Eels.
Yeah.
All right. Should we look on to next week?
Yeah. So this coming round 25, final round of the year before finals. Thursday evening, we have the Raiders, not over the Roosters, but against the Roosters. Predictions.
I'm going to go Chooks in a close one.
I think Raiders. I think that they might want this a little bit more than the Roosters do.
That's sort of my thinking too. It's nothing against the Roosters, but not having Manu there is a big out.
I think
is Bradley or Warrior Hargreaves back this week?
I know Crichton is.
Yeah, Crichton is.
I think Hargreaves is, and I think Victor's got one more. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because if Raiders get that fire under their belly that they want to play finals, this is the one time that they really need to step up.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they knowing that Sharks got to play the Storm, I think they're definitely going to be motivated to think if they just get a win here, they're in finals footy. And as Jake was saying before, they can get in there and they can upset a lot of teams. So I think they will get the win against the Chooks this week.
No, very good. Well, the second game we have Friday evening, the first game on Friday, I should say. We have the Sharks up against the Storm. Storm with a lot of players out. And I think for the prices that Sportsbet are putting out at the minute, I think that's too far out for the Sharks. So I think it'll be a lot closer than closer than what's being indicated.
Get on the Sharks now, because I reckon that the once
we'll get down throughout the week.
It's going to drop dramatically.
Very quickly. Yeah. I actually have the Sharks in this one, purely because.
As do I.
Yeah.
Yep. Same.
I've got the Storm grinding it out. It's going to be close, I think, though.
Yeah, I think it'll be much closer than everyone thinks. Yeah. Friday night, second game, we have the Eels up against the Panthers. Eels out at the minute with $13 and Panthers at $1.03. I would assume that's because of the amount of players that the Eels have out at the minute. And Panthers have won both their encounters this year too. So I think this could be close, but if all the Panthers players are playing it, I don't think it will be.
Yeah, I think Panthers have this.
Yeah.
Panthers want to seal that final win before finals.
Yeah. They want to give themselves every chance to win them on the premiership too, because if Cronulla manage to pull off the win, Penrith get the win because they're tied for first at the minute. So
yeah.
What's their point differential like?
It's not Melbourne are a long way in front, but they're equal on points. So
yeah.
So they're equal now, are they?
If one of them wins,
right.
if one of them wins and the other loses, they'll get the minor premiership.
No, I thought. No,
Can
sorry.
you
I still
imagine-
thought Storm were up 2 points.
Can you imagine, bloody Melbourne do a 19-game win streak and don't win the minor premiership?
Oh, 19 game. Well, you think
awesome.
19-game win streak and the most points ever scored in a season,
And don't get the minor premiership.
and don't get the minor premiership. Yeah.
To a team that lost to the Tigers.
I was about to say I might change my tip. might change my tip to the Storm then to get them back over.
Yeah.
Very good. Saturday's first game, I should say, we had the Broncos up against the Knights. Do or die for. Actually, Knights have secured their spot, haven't they? So,
yeah,
bit of a nufty game, but I would assume both teams want to win for a bit of pride, and Knights will get that bit of extra motivation for the finals too. So,
yeah, Newcastle can't finish higher or lower. So, but the Broncos until last week they've been better defensively. So
I think last week is probably the worst. Last week is probably the worst they've played out of those last 3-4 games.
Yeah. So they've been better, but I think Knights will win it in a close one.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Broncos.
It's hard to say. I'm going to go Knights just because I want to get that momentum continuing.
Yeah, I'll go same Knights. I think they'll want it going into finals. Although I do think Broncos have probably got some players that want to prove something. So this might be a game to try and do it.
Yeah, exactly. Saturday's second game, we have the Seagulls against the Cowboys. Cowboys are at home too, so look, Turbo's just in too good a form to not say the Seagulls.
Yeah, they want to. Melbourne, Seagulls are going to give themselves every chance to finish in top 4. So, blood in the water for the Seagulls, I reckon.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are too low. Should be higher than $7, I think.
Yeah.
They had a good win last week, though, mate.
that doesn't count. It's like beating the Bulldogs.
Saturday evening's second game, we have the Rabbitohs up against the Dragons. Do we even need to talk about this one?
How are you guys only paying $2.10?
Look, if I knew, I'd be backing them.
They must have Rabbitohs having 13 players out.
Wow.
Latrell on the whole spine.
B team.
But I've seen the bloody Rabbitohs under 16 jersey fleet team beats Dragons at the minute.
So
can't wait for the messages if Dragons win. Can't wait for Roscoe to put in his messages.
Roscoe doesn't watch Dragons games.
It'll still be the same. Get rid of Norman and we'll be right. Sunday afternoon's first game, we have the Titans up against the Warriors. I feel as though this one might be a pretty close one. I don't know how the Warriors are blown out to that far in terms of paying $3.75. They do have the potential to create an upset.
Can they make the 8?
No, they can't make that, but the Titans still can.
Titans can.
But they need both the Raiders and Sharks to lose, I think. And they have to win by like 100 points nearly. So not looking likely, but
possible.
Yeah.
In saying that, I'm going the Titans.
Yeah, I'm going Titans as well. Yeah,
I'm going the Titans as well.
So in saying that, Warriors will win by 20.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the cracker, boys. He's the game. Everyone waiting up to watch this one.
West Tigers, who are sitting 13th, versing the Bulldogs, who are 16th.
This will be the first time in the year for me, but I'm going to back the Dogs. I'm doing it. I'm backing the doggies in.
That's not a bad shout. Just for the lulz.
So I can message Benny Matthews after.
I was just about to say it. Benny Matthews will be loving this one.
How do you like them, Benny?
No, very good. Well, that's just about it for the show, boys.
I've got a multi. Do you want to hear my multi?
Yeah.
Quickly.
Are you tipping all the favourites?
Yeah,
no,
of course.
Never pick favourites, mate. There's no money in it. All right. Roosters 1-12. Cronulla 1-12. Penrith 13+. Newcastle 1-12. Sea Eagles 13+. The Rabbits 13+. The Gold Coast 13+. And the Tigers 1-12.
So you picked
So
every
all the
favourite.
all the favourites.
No,
They
I picked margins. I picked margins.
Yeah, but
Yeah, that's
you
still the
picked all
favourite, though.
favourites.
Well, what do
The
you
only
reckon
one that you
that's
didn't
paying?
pick hey?
Yeah, it was the only
What
one
do you
he picked
reckon
was the
that's?
Sharks.
What do you reckon that's paying to come off?
Mate, you know what I reckon you should do?
I reckon to make
Tell
it
us,
more
Snake. Tell us.
chuck in a
tell
few
us.
try scorers as
Six-
well.
Yeah,
$1,600 that's paying.
yeah. Put some
Jeez.
try scorers in. I reckon.
Yeah,
Do less teams, but put try scorers in.
yeah.
Anytime
Please,
try
mate.
scorer.
I'd rather win
Will
my
Kennedy.
money. He's
there you
a
go,
special every week. No,
Well, the
don't
only-
over that. Just take your $1,600 for your $1 bet. And walk away, people. Gamble responsibly.
So what are you betting? Like
boys,
20
I don't know.
cents per team, are you?
No, it's just a $1 multi, mate. A whole lot.
Boys, I don't know if you've heard, they were talking about the possibility of there being a rule change coming up.
Oh,
This is the
possibly related
stupidest
to-
thing I've ever heard
Did,
of.
did
Is
we
this-
hear about this? Yeah.
is this
I haven't
Wayne,
heard it.
Wayne Pearce
The
coming
seven-
out saying that every time you kick it out, like finding
Seven,
touches,
seven
tackle.
tackle. Yeah.
What?
Ridiculous.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So every time the ball's being kicked out, it should be a seven tackle set for the
So,
other team.
yeah, so every
No
time
way.
you kick it into
No
touch,
way.
proxy. Every
That's
time you kick it
crap.
into touch,
Like,
So what happens if you get a
You've gotta
40-20? Do you get a
will
seven
you get the
tackle
ball
set?
back?
then you get a
No,
seven.
you
No,
just get the
set.
ball.
Oh.
No.
But
It's
you
only
know how
like
much
if you kick
skill
it in
is
play
to
to slow
drill the
down.
ball in the bottom corner.
100%.
But you
Yeah.
drill
Yeah.
the ball
Yeah.
in the bottom corner, try and
Yeah.
build pressure.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
don't deserve to give away
Yeah,
7 tackles.
Well, that's
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
You should be rewarded for that, not
Well, and you
disadvantaged
think on
for
top
it.
of that too, a 7 tackle set gives you that extra tackle, obviously, but that also quickens up the game again as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
you already
just-
see how it
That's
drops
the
teams,
the
like-
point. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the point they're saying. They're like, well, are we going to just eliminate the big man altogether?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's heading in that direction where if that's going to happen, because obviously most of the time, especially like in the early 2000s, that was used to slow down the play to give you big man a
Yeah.
rest.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then
And
when
so
it
if you
gets
can't
things like
use that, if you
basketball
can't
game
use it
scores.
anymore,
Mm.
yeah, like you can't use that anymore. Then what's the point?
Mm.
Like it's going to come down to
No.
there's no point in running any big man.
Oh, yeah, it's
Exactly.
horrendous.
Exactly.
I only watch it for the big boys season.
I'm all about my big boys.
Very good. Well, that's a wrap for our NRL until finals basically next week. So good
Yep.
luck with your multis, Snako. I'll be expecting to see that video of your skips very soon.
No, there, mate. I'll be rolling in my money.
Wait, so you'll pay someone to do the skips for you. No, very good. Thanks for sticking around, everyone. I know it's been awkward not being able to have you listening to us every week, but we're doing our best.
Thanks,
Thanks
guys.
for listening.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
See you later.
Thank you.
See you guys.